Hi everyone, this is Tim VanLeeuwen at VanLeeuwen Ranch. This evening we're going to make a paddock move. It's actually been a couple weeks since I've done any rotational grazing with these cattle. We had some personal things going on, and so the last video I posted, we had the cattle and this lot, this paddock, it goes around those trees. I don't know if you can see that yellow insulator there. And this was basically a paddock that I had them in for 2 days. And my intention was to turn them out into this bigger paddock. But we had some personal things going on, and just wasn't going to have time to deal with rotating the cattle and the water and everything. So tonight we're gonna get them turned in to this new paddock, just beyond those trees there. There's quite a bit of weeds in this area, but there's a lot of grass in it too. I know the sunlight's probably, let me get in a better spot here. Sunlight was probably putting a pretty good glare on the camera there. So you can see our reel that separates these two paddocks, and that yellow handle there, and that poly wire runs down through these trees, and I pretty much had to cut an alleyway all the way down to the fence there, to the barbed wire fence. Not all of it I didn't have to cut out. Not all of it I had to cut out, but there was some areas that had quite a few tree branches and whatnot that I had to take the chainsaw to. There's just something soothing about hearing this water fill up these tanks. Kind of like hearing a creek run. There is a lot of trees in this paddock, but we might have some rain coming, so that'll give the cows some shelter, and hopefully they can make a dent on some of these weeds here. And I'll show you a little bit more of the paddock once I get the cattle in, but let's finish filling up this water, get back up to the house, because that's where the cattle are hanging out right now. And I'm going to try to bring them down here and get them moved into this paddock. Okay guys, I'm back. I just got the cattle moved in. I'm going to show you this poly wire here, how I ran it. I think the cattle are down in the back. That's the first place it looked like they ran to. There they are back in the trees over there. I'm going to go ahead and finish showing you how this wire is ran, then we'll come back to the cattle. So this paddock here, even though you've seen some weeds back there, has this has got the best grass on the whole farm back in here. This is kind of a low laying area, and this area traps a lot of water. The grass is always usually pretty thick, especially over there. Here, I'll give you a little bit better point of view. This grass here is probably, I know it doesn't look like it, that's probably at least a foot tall, maybe a little more. And then look over there at that grass. You can just see how thick it is, and it's actually quite a bit taller. There's a little draw that runs through there. It comes off of my pond drain, and it's just kind of a low laying area. It gets a lot of rainwater, and grass just takes off down here. The color is probably not the best on this video. It is late in the evening. It's probably about maybe a little after 8 o'clock p.m. I'll show you how I set up this reel. I like this a little bit better because the other way I had it, when I was wrapping this wire around this wire was getting frayed a little bit. I ended up actually having to snip that wire, and this wire here, I actually had to snip that wire on my first paddock, retie it, and this one I just tied it up here with some baling wire and just ran a jumper wire from that wire to this wire. Now you can kind of see, with that light behind us, you can kind of see the color of the grass a little better. Sometimes it is late when I move these cattle. You know, by the time I get home from work and everything, spend a little bit of time with the family, eat dinner, and then get out here and fill up the water and get the cattle moved. It can get a little late, but you know, it's staying daylight past 9 o'clock these days at this point of the summer. Probably close to I'd say 9:15. So you can see that corner there. This was over here was that first paddock that we made, and we was on that paddock for 5 days. And you can kind of see that wire, this wire here. Running down there towards them trees. It's a little bit loose. I may have to tighten that up a little bit. There is a lot of grass down here. I'm not sure what the acreage is on this paddock. I haven't mapped it out yet. But there is a lot of grass down here. I was going to try to strip graze it, move them once a day, but the timing of this paddock move was not going to allow me to do that. So we're just going to go ahead and graze this for about maybe 4 days. We'll see what it looks like on the 4th day and see if we can get an extra day out of it. But you know, the results we got from that first paddock, and actually that second paddock, that was that small paddock, we left them in there for 2 days. I just kind of want to preserve the grass because we're starting to get into the heat of summer, and you never know when we're going to get rain. These trees here are going to give these cattle a nice shelter, you know, if it gets too hot or if we do get some storms. which we may have a chance of a storm this week, so we'll see. Actually, it'd been about 2 weeks since we had those cows in that smaller paddock, and then I let them out into the big pasture. And it'd been about 3 weeks since we'd had rain, clear up until last Friday. We got about 1.5 inches, and that's the first rain that we'd gotten in about 3 weeks or so, and it'd been hot consistently into the mid-90s. So well, these cattle must be done checking this out. I think they're gonna go get a drink of water, so we'll follow them back up here to the water trough. And there they are. She's getting nice and fat and slick. There's our 2 calves. The first one in front, he was out of the first calf heifer. And this second calf there, that's the heifer that was out of this big cow here, the one that was born on that calf's the one that was born on Mother's Day. She's actually about bigger than that bull calf that was born earlier than her. Maybe not quite as thick yet, but she's pretty well taller and longer. That's the difference between a first calf, heifer calf, and a third calf. She's the third calf out of that cow, and she's only about 1.5 months old, maybe. Yeah, about 1.5 months old probably. This calf was born early March, I think. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my paperwork on him. First part of March is when he was born, so you can see the difference. That heifer, if she was the same age, she'd be way bigger than him. There's a big steer there. That's the biggest steer I have right now. And so I think these cows are going to be pretty happy down here for the next 4 days at least. And hopefully they can stomp these weeds down here. We're going to move them over there next, across that wire. And we'll see how much grass they eat, and I'll post a video on our next move and show you how they ate this paddock down and show you the next move. So I'm going to let these cattle do their thing. That one's eating on some mineral right there. I'm going to let these cattle do their thing, and I'm going to let you guys go for this evening, and I'll see you on the next move. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.